Ross Twiddell from Cultaholic. You are a sexual wank fezant, and welcome to these AEW TF moments for Revolution 2020. And it was a fantastic show. I don't care what you say, it was bloody great. Sammy Guevara's thing off the top rope through the table took the breath away. I saw the best ever tag team match I've ever seen. Ever. I've never smiled so much during a single professional wrestling match as I did all the way through the Orange Cassidy versus War Geordie Pack laugh fest. What? And then to top it all off, we got a fantastic win for Jon Moxley at the end of the night. It was just a great show, wasn't it? Hit the bloody intro. WTF! But we start, of course, all the way back at the buy-in, and I'm making it a WTF moment where Nick Jackson revealed there was a Bullet Club group chat. When I heard that, I was all like, what? Oh, hell no. Huh? Hold up. I don't know why, but I think it is a WTF moment. I always just assumed that professional wrestlers thrashed out all of the business inside strip clubs next to lots of bottles of whiskey and mountains of cocaine. Super toot party. And then we had a wonderful quote from Tony Schiavone himself when he said, that woman, Kris Statlander, of course, booped me on the nose, and for a second I thought I was into another dimension. What did that woman do to me? And what I learned from that statement from Big Dick Tony Schiavone is that when Kris Statlander boops you, it's like taking some LSD. Pass it on, not the LSD. Maybe the booping though. A lot of drugs around today, isn't there? Hands up if you googled Chris Jericho and Brandi Couture after Le Champion claimed he knocked out that stupid bald idiot with a big giant head in Palms something or other, Las Vegas. I did. I mean, I know he didn't, but I just had to make sure. Remember, Chris Jericho is the man who took down Goldberg, who is the man, of course, who beat The Fiend in Saudi Arabia twice in one altercation in a WWE locker room back in the day. And then we have Le Champion saying that the fire and desire is burning inside of him for revenge against Jon Moxley. Oh, you know where I'm going here, don't you? Sonya and McMandy to AEW confirmed. I don't know why I wasted your time by saying that, but I did. Taz, man, how wet? Put some effort into it, son. It's not a little bit of the bubbly. It's a little bit of the bubbly. Come on, man. Get out your chair. Kick up your heels. Paint the town orange. And then we had a shocking appearance from one Colt Cabana, and I guess AEW Revolution 2020 was down the road from his studio apartment in Chicago, Illinois. So, yeah. And then we had Christopher Daniels coming out looking just like that. Do you get it? Do you get it, don't you? It's me, Austin! It was me all along, Austin! Ah, son of a bitch. And just in case you don't get it, I might as well say it while we're here. It's one of those weird professional wrestling stories that has gone down in the folklore. Back in the day, the higher power could have been the fallen angel, Christopher Daniels, and Jake the Snake Roberts, and a whole host of other people apart from Vince McMahon. So there you go. One of AEW's biggest mysteries was solved last night. Just how does Adam Hangman Page get from town to town to town when he is pissed as a fart? It has been revealed right there. Kids, do not drink and drive. So Jim Ross is making his grand entrance right at the end of the buy-in, and the confusion on that woman's face is very relatable. Let's talk about why it is. On one hand, it's Jim Ross making his entrance. You feel compelled to stand up and give him a standing ovation because it's Jim effing Ross. But on the other hand, you're also very, very wary that he's been very, very rubbish so far in All Elite Wrestling, and he doesn't really deserve that standing ovation based on his AEW work alone. The confusion's relatable, isn't it? I mean, I've never thought of it like that, but slap my arse and call me Gertrude it is. Matthew James Cuthbert Hardy, how could you? And I don't know about you at home, but when we saw that opening promo to last night's show, I had to laugh because they called Jake Hager undefeated MMA star Jake Hager. And they even used real moving footage from Bellator, but conveniently they did not show Jake Hager blatantly hoofing that fella right in the nads, which has been the genesis for Hager hoofing just about everybody he sees in an AEW ring right in the nads. Well, this is the weirdest start I've ever seen to a porn on pay-per-view. But I guess we can't be too shocked to see such raunchiness from a man, a legitimate undefeated MMA star like Jake Hager, when we know that Tyson Fury, a real boxing man, was having 7 wanks a day. I bet they've been going at it like Kevin and Sammy, those two. Relentlessly, I've tried to make it wrestling related but failed. So we get to the start of the first match of the night and Kel Surprise Jimothy Ross gets a name wrong. That's me pretending to be shocked. But then Jim Ross tries to pull off a save more miraculous than David Seaman versus Sheffield United FA Cup at Old Trafford 2000, whatever year it was, when he says, I called him swagger. Shame on me, but he has a lot of that. Oh, Jim. 6'7", 275 solid pounds, said Big Dick Tony Schiavone about Jake Hager. And if Jake Hager heard Big Dick Tony Schiavone say that, you know what noise he's making. And Jake Hager will be saying, because right at the start of his entrance, a couple of moments before Big Dick Tony Schiavone said that, Justin Roberts announced Jake Hager as a solid 254 pounds. Well, I guess that since Tony Schiavone said that weight after the kiss, that's one hell of a boner Jake Hager is carrying. Why do I do this job? So then we see Jake Hager, as Chris Jericho calls him, of course, deliver a liver shot right to the liver of Dustin, and Dr. Excalibur comes out with one hell of a whopper. Despite what Dr. Excalibur says, no, a shot to the liver does not then cause a cascade failure of the rest of your organs, so the rest of your organs try and save your liver. How do we know this? Of course, because how many times have you seen a person take a shot to the liver and then survive to tell the tale? Lots. Dustin, even though that lady's husband broke your arm and you don't like that lady's husband very much, you cannot force yourself on that woman like you did at Revolution 2020. I know it's professional wrestling, I know it's silly bollocks, but that is assault, young man. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's true, isn't it? And come to think of it, Dustin, what would your wife be saying at home? Think about your giant dogs, man. She might take them away from you. I'll have them. I love your giant dogs. And I know this is an old professional wrestling trope because we hate the heel. We have to laugh at the heel's wife being assaulted by an old man. But we need to get up with the times, man. This was creepy and a bit uncomfortable. Let's say I was in Greg's trying to buy a pasty. There's one steak bake left on the hot counter. There's a man and a woman, clearly a couple, in front of me. They take the last steak bake. I walk up to the counter, I say, hello, have you got any more steak bakes? They say, no, sorry Ross, that couple there just took them. Imagine if I then said, right, come here, woman. Planted a smacker on her face, I'd be arrested, wouldn't I? So don't do it again, Dustin, right? Or I'll call the police on you. You know how I tried to make a joke about pay-per-view porn a few minutes ago? Well, judging on last night's match, I reckon Jake Hager actually thought he was in one. We saw the raunchy kissing, and then we got some very, 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 very raunchy tongue movement and potentially some licking. And cast your mind back a few weeks ago when Chris Jericho stuck the spike in Jon Moxley's eye. They did a promo backstage and Jake Hager let out a massive R. And that R is making sense now after the kissing and the licking. Edge moved to one side because there is a new rated R superstar in professional wrestling and his name is Jake Hager. Midsection that time screams Big Dick Tony Schiavone, and I was watching that thinking, midsection my arse. Referee Aubrey saw it too. What are they doing? How could you do that to Jake Hager? Look what it's done to him, man. Well then we're doing bloody war games! War games! War games! But this time it's called Blood and Guts. You know why that is, don't you? It's because Vince McMahon labelled what AEW did with, I think, Kenny Omega and Jon Moxley as blood and guts, and oh, the WWE, we're above that! Even though we booked Shayna Baszler to bite a chunk out of Becky Lynch's neck. But still though, war games! But blood and guts, I'm looking forward to it. That German man on the right called Tony Schiavone Taz, and that is unforgivable. Why were they sat there in the front row for the Darby Allin versus Sammy Guevara match? They're sat there after having, some altercations with the Inner Circle on Dynamite in recent times, but they didn't do anything. They just sat there with their phones out and whatnot. It was a bit weird, wasn't it? Especially when you heard Luchasaurus on the buy-in saying they'll be keeping an eye on the Cody versus MJF match, just in case things got out of hand. Bit weird, that one for me. And I've got to say, yes, I know they were utter dicks to Hangman Page on last week's Call on Dynamite, but I did not see the sheer amount of boos that rained down on the Young Bucks coming. Did you? You probably did. Good for you. Obviously, they've done such a good job of making Adam Hangman Page so endearing, but heading into this match, I was expecting everybody in the match to get cheered, with Hangman getting cheered most of all. Bad time to be releasing a book, eh? Young Bucks. Oof. And then we saw Hangman Page doing Marty Scurll's full-on step, spin, chicken wing jazz hands, and that was a shock, wasn't it? We've read the news, haven't we? Marty's not even coming to AEW because Ring of Honor threw that man the world. So Hangman referencing Marty so blatantly like he did, it was a bit of a shock, wasn't it? Yeah. Unless, of course, they've sold the dirt sheets up the river and Marty Scurll is indeed coming to AEW. Ooh. And now it's time for this.
Wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank.
Welcome back to Wankety Wank, the section of WTF Moments where you, as sexual wank on, tweet me with something I have missed from a show, and I've given you the credit just in case it's wrong. And even though, as we all know, AEW tag team matches have no rules whatsoever, I've included that for you, humble tweeter. And next up we have Jim Ross, who reckons the hand thing on the front of Nyla Rose's gear looks like the Chick-fil-A logo. Nope, doesn't. And all credit to Excalibur, who was quick on his mask. Ow. Quick on his toes he was, as he said, "No, Jimothy, I don't think Nyla Rose, of all people, would be a fan of Chick-fil-A. If you know, you know. And if you don't, Google is your friend." Get a bigger belt, man. Question here for you technologically minded people out there. Did the hard cam break during that women's match? A lot of that match was shot from the floor. Why did they do this? Did they want to make Kris Statlander and Nyla Rose appear to be massive, with us looking up from the floor below? If you do know, let me know, because I would like to know. Jim Ross back once again when he claims Statlander got to break on 4, she would have been disqualified on 5. And it sure fooled me, of course, because I would have thought, looking at that image there, Nyla Rose was the one doing the offense there, Jim. That's the weirdest ankle lock I've ever seen. And now it's time for this. Once again, we're going 2s up on this banjo.
Wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank, wankety wank.
Hello and welcome back to Wankety Wank, and thanks first of all to Storm J. Olsen, you can see what he saw there, and then thank you to the Lion Slayer for pointing out things that I have missed. Good on you, all the best. And we've got to make it a WTF moment, haven't we, for better or for worse? The tattoo. Now, I know nothing about tattoos. I only got my first tattoo this morning, just before I came in to shoot this here video, but to get that tattoo there when you've got nothing else really apart from Dream going on around here seems a bit weird. It's a nice design, isn't it? Just the placement. It's weird and horrible. Now I'm just waiting for Cody to tell us all why he's got this design right there. I bet there's some really poignant moments that will make me feel like a really bad person for making this a WTF moment. So Cody, if you do that, here is my apology right now. But as we stand here, we don't know why he's got that thing there, and it looks horrible. So WTF. That's really cool though. From Death Valley, weighing in at 320 pounds, Arn Anderson. Or maybe Ern Anderson. On a more serious note though, we've got to ask the question, why is Ern Anderson doing the Undertaker's thing there? If you know, let me know. My eyes are now stuck. Now you see, big baldy bastard Baron Corbin and WWE, when you're doing that pouring the drink on a fan thing to get the heel some heating ton, pick a person who does not look like an independent professional wrestler and it makes everything 10 times better. Unless, of course, MJF literally did just take a fan's drink and then throw it on another fan. We're not going to put it past him at this stage, are we? One question, of course, what is Arn and Brandi doing right there? We see a massive top rope effinator, as Matthew Gregg would call it. MJF is down for full 10 minutes, but do Brandi and or Arn give Cody his boot back? Do tattoo, they're bollocks. He needs that boot for support, man. It must be really hard walking around with that tattoo on his neck. I'm joking, of course, I'm being an arsehole, but why didn't they give him his boot back? And then we get to the barefooted disaster kick, which gives us multiplayer WTF moments. First of all, Cody Rhodes has no shoe on, kicks a man in the head, not a grimace. Not a scream, nothing. It didn't hurt him one bit at all. And I find this weird because I have personally kicked a football without a shoe on and with a football boot on. And let me tell you, it hurts a lot more without a football boot on. And then, despite having this horribly broken toe and no boot on whatsoever, he then runs to the other side of the ring where he's stopped by Wardlow, and he runs like he's Mo Farah or Paula Radcliffe or Usain Bolt. That's all the runners I know. Again, no scream, no grimace. I guess adrenaline is amazing. And then the second WTF moment from that barefooted disaster kick came when we saw that MJF had been cut open. And I don't know about you, but my immediate thought was, ugh, Cody Rhodes, get your toenails clipped, man. That's disgusting. They've pierced the bugger right through your sock, man. They must be like that long. Horrible. And then Cody did the pose and he tried to do the draping DDT. And with the tattoo, and now with him openly supporting a no good slimy snack who was trying to kill 2 people on international television in recent weeks, I'm starting to think that Cody Rhodes is a bad boy. Not quite a bad boy like one Joey Janela, but a bad boy all the same. Referee Paul Turner, you crooked bastard. First of all, you take the belt away from MJF, then you're like, oh Cody, give us the belt back as well, will you? And then you stop and let him use it twice. And then we get to the finish of the match. MJF has clocked Cody in the head with the ring, and then you look at the camera, you sort of go, oh no, I've got to do this pinfall, and then count really slowly. I get that Cody Rhodes is one of the EVPs of AEW. I understand that MJF might just be a massive cockwomble, but you're a referee, man. Be impartial, treat them both the same, be fair. Who on earth would have thought that Orange Cassidy is a massive Shakira fan? Just go back and watch his entrance from the show, man. Justin Roberts tells you, from wherever, weighing whatever, we're meant to be together, I'll be there and you'll be here. But forget about Chris Jericho. Orange Cassidy's entrance was the entrance of the night because even the pyro was lazy and half-assed. It's the little things, as AJ Styles told us once upon a time. So next up we have Tony Schiavone, who tells us he relates to Orange Cassidy really hard because sometimes, just like Orange, he doesn't give a rat's arse about anything. And then upon hearing that, we have Jim Ross, who replies to Tony, oh Tony, you'll know what they say on Twitter, you just don't love the business anymore. He mispronounced names like JR, you don't love the business like I do. I'm 14 and I've got the basement all to myself this week. And I heard that and I thought, you know what, Jim? F*** off. Don't sit there and get pissy at others when you're being crap. Oh, I'm fighting talk here. It's not the fans' fault. You're making the same mistakes every single week, and by doing so, giving off the impression you've kind of given up. You don't really care about what you're doing. You're not looking to improve on those mistakes. I mean, like everybody. I love Jim Ross, but you simply can't ignore the mistakes and him going, oh, well, they'll cry about you on Twitter. Just... how am I, Jim? And then we have a direct quote from Excalibur when he says, I know Pac's from Newcastle, but if I didn't know any better, I'd say he's from a town called Malice. And then Jim Ross replies to that, I knew a girl called Alice once, from Malice, and she was mean. But of course, Jim, blame a 14-year-old in their parents' basement for that crap there, why not, eh? And I don't know about you, but after last night, I reckon we need to rename Jon Moxley Nigel McMoxley. Go back and watch the way he nutted that ring post. Go back and listen to the way he nutted that ring post. It was like Nigel McGuinness in his pomp. And then we fast forward through that match and get to Jon Moxley's promo to close the night, and he says, it feels like it's beer o'clock. I nearly said John there, but he definitely said, feels like it's beer o'clock. So why not, eh? It's beer o'clock, you bastards! Come on, Weatherspoons! And then we end with a rather fitting WTF moment in this series called WTF Moment. They think he's done speaking, they play his music, he wasn't done speaking, he said WTF. Lovely stuff, wasn't it? And that's it for your WTF moments from AEW Revolution 2020. Just a fantastic show, wasn't it? Call a spade, and that, my friends, was a spade. A lovely spade. See you later. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow us on Twitter @Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. And if you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can play us to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Cultaholic. Hit subscribe and join us